Good morning and welcome to the Sunday celebrations here for the Sinners of Spiritual Living Denver. We are a loving and prospering community here in the heart of Capitol Hill and online. We know that with everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. Here at CSL Denver, we want you to know that we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for prayer work with you. Our names and phone numbers are on the website at www.csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, please email it to info@csldenver.org. Reverend Elzia, along with all of our guest speakers, all of our practitioners, our music and service coordinators, want you to know how truly grateful we are for your online support. Thank you for watching our Sunday services, attending our online workshops and events, and providing financial support so that we can keep our virtual doors open. We love you all and know we'll be seeing you in person in the right and perfect time. And now, we'll continue to meet online until further notice. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Please go to www.csldenver.org and sign up for our newsletters. We only send out one per week. Or send an email to info@csldenver.org and request to be put on our mailing list. This week we are having our usual Zoom fellowship right after service. If you haven't already received an email this morning, please send an email to info@csldenver.org to request a Zoom invitation. Please join us. We would love to say hi and catch up with you. That's it for the announcements this Sunday. Again, thank you for tuning in, and now back to our service.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Cardenas, a practitioner with CSL Denver, and it's time for our invocation. And so if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And to invoke means to put something to use. So in this moment, we just turn our attention and put our consciousness to work as we know that there is a creative spirit at hand that we all can use, that is part of us, that we are integrated and one with and unified with. And we use that awareness and power to just bless this service this morning and all that it encompasses. We just bless the music. We bless Reverend Elzia's message, all the volunteers and practitioners that make this work. And I also know this morning that we just send our prayers to Dale's family and Barb Tess's family as they both made their transition in the last couple of weeks. And so in this moment, I know that this service is perfect, that it goes out into our community, that it goes out to every heart of our individual in our community, and that whether we are in a temple, on a mountaintop, in a mosque, in a church, or in our room, we know that we are connected with Spirit, that we are transforming any fear this morning into the power of love, that there is no fear but just love. And we bless all that encompass this message, all that put this to use, and so it is. Our reading this morning is from Neil Donald Walsh. Every time I read him, I'm just reminded of how powerful his work is. Fear is the great attractor, and it brings to us precisely what it is that we hope to avoid. That is because fear is the strongest human emotion next to love. And the strength of an emotion is what produces or attracts results in one's life. There are only two places to reside as one moves through the human experience: a place of love or a place of fear. The place of fear is a very real place, but it is always the lie about you. The lie is that you have anything at all to fear. And the truth is that in God's great universe, there is nothing to fear but fear itself. When we fear anything, we make known our announcement that we do not believe in the goodness of God. It is fear which attracts and produces results of a negative nature in one's life. The best way to get rid of the fear that you are carrying around is to move instantly and at once to a place of gratitude for all the goodness of God in all the miracles that you see being performed all around you every day. Accept that the universal intelligence is the most wonderful being in the universe, would never do anything to harm you. Deeply understand that even the negative experiences of your life are gifts and are to be treasured, opportunities for you to be and to decide who you really are. It is really very easy to step away from fear. Simply do not acknowledge it as real and move immediately into gratitude. One of the most wonderful prayers I have heard is the following: Dear God, help me to understand that this problem has already been solved for me. This is a statement of such pure truth and wonderful faith that if repeated often enough with regard to a particular problem or condition, it cannot fail to produce positive results. A great affirmation that I have created to assist people in moving through fear is the following: all that I once feared, I now embrace and heal. All negative human experience which may come to me in my life, I now see as a gift and a blessing, a treasure to behold, and a glorious opportunity for me to declare and to announce, to be and to decide, to express and fulfill who I really am. And a quote from Ernest Holmes: in the peace of God, I feel the love of a holy presence. In this consciousness of love, all sense of fear slips away. And now, again, we have some beautiful music from Ray Davis. Good morning, Ray.
Well, hello, CSL Denver. This is Ray Davis from Los Angeles. I am your musical inspiration for the month of May, and I'm so grateful to be here, grateful to be with you. The song I'm going to present for you today is called Compassion. Two of the people that you'll hear about in the song are identified as fear, fear which robs us of all good. But we know the truth of ourselves, we know the truth of each other, that we're made in the image and likeness of God. So we're going to let that truth prevail and apply some compassion to this fear and watch it dissipate. This is compassion. came by for tea one afternoon. She cried and cried so much that soon tea was tempted and forgotten. The fear said, this time I think he's gone for good. So in my mind I'm wondering, should I say this or that or not? Then suddenly the silence, right when everything was quiet, I knew what was needed. Just love and compassion. Fear picked up on the second ring. He mumbled before confessing he was totally besotted. The fear moaned, he's only toying with my heart. So now I'm wondering how to start to unstop a mind that's blotted. Then in the silence, right when everything was quiet, I knew what was needed. Just love and compassion. Fear, binding, blinding fear. Fear no longer speaks to me. Oh no, no. It's love, love right now and here that clearly covers all I see. I see you now. I see you now. All is well. I forgot to mail the check today. Tomorrow someone's rightful pay will not be in their possession. Sometimes I feel like such a simple-minded fool. Maybe I should go back to school to pursue some safe profession. But in the silence, right here where everything is quiet, I know what is needed. Just love and compassion. Just love and compassion. It's just love and compassion. Love and compassion. Just some compassion. Oh.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. We will be looking for that compassion as we travel this journey today. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. And welcome to CSL's Number, a place, a space, and a face of love, a spiritual community teaching ancient wisdom and applying universal principles to embody the intelligence of the divine and empower our lives and the lives of others. We want to thank you for being with us today. And first and foremost, we want to send a heartfelt condolences to, as Teresa mentioned first, our community members, Dale and Barb, who made their transition recently. And we just know that they'll have love and light on their journey and that we are with them and the family. So please hold them in your prayers as we move through today and the next weeks. And so today, our talk is transforming fear to faith. fear to faith. And I want to start by, I want to wish all the graduates and upcoming graduates, and my son is one of those, he'll be graduating next year, next week rather. And we want to wish a heartfelt congratulations and success on their completing this leg of the journey, this journey called life. And now the question becomes for them, are you prepared for the next adventure of the journey? Now, for some, that'll be college. For some, that will be a job. And I would suspect that many of you, once you get over the celebration and the excitement of the completion of school, the question will loom, are you ready for the next step? Are you contemplating the next step? And the bigger question is, will you step with confidence or will you step with fear? You see, because we understand that those are options on the path. And so this month, we are looking at and exploring the wonders of emotion. And today we're going to look at fear and how that can manipulate us and how we can transform it. And exactly what this whole idea of emotions brings to us and what it is. And first and foremost, let's just start right at the top, as they say. Emotions are like gauges in your car. They are like gauges in your car. They are there to inform you when things are out of balance or when things need attention. And they provide great information and areas for us to reflect upon, to explore, and to grow. Now, I'm quite sure, there's been this talk and there's always this thing about, well, we shouldn't deal with fear and this, that, and the other. And I'm here to say that I'm sure none of us would want to ride around in a car without any gauges. We don't know if we need oil. We don't know if we got enough. Even with the newer cars, you can check the air pressure and gas. I mean, there's all kind of gauges, what the temperature is outside the car, inside the car. And so these gauges are very important for us to navigate life. And so emotion and the one that we're looking at today, fear, are indicators of how we're traversing the path, how we're moving forward. And now, I'm sure some of you may have heard the news yesterday, or you may have heard it this morning, the first all-Black crew who climbed Everest, which is a major accomplishment. I think that this is the first ever in the history of climbers climbing Everest where the whole team was Black. That's a great accomplishment. And I would venture to say, when they started, the question was, what were they feeling then and what are they feeling now? Did they step forward with fear or with confidence? Or did it start with some fear that got transformed into a faith that allowed them to accomplish this major feat? Now, fear is one of the most common human emotions. And faith is on the other side of that spectrum. And so I want to share this with you, this quote from Ernest Holmes that says, fear is the antithesis of faith. Like faith, fear may be conscious or subjective. And if it is to be eliminated, it must be removed both consciously and unconsciously. It must be removed both consciously and unconsciously. Now, when we say remove here, I mean, we look at Ernest in the time that he was writing. We don't mean we want to get rid of the fear, because as we just said, it's a gauge. It's a gauge for life. It lets you know where you are, what's happening. And so when we look at it, we understand that we need these different emotions. We need these different emotions. And so what we have to really begin to understand and get our head around is, what is an emotion, and how does it affect us? And then how does it interact with everything? So first and foremost, let's be clear. Emotions are neurochemical awarenesses within our body based on our environment. Let me say that again. Emotions are a neurochemical awareness or response to our environment. They've been with us since time. The flight or flight. I mean, when you see the best way, I think, to kind of encapsulate this is, imagine the gazelle. We've all seen some safari pictures or pictures from the bush, and you could see a gazelle at the water drinking, paying attention. And when that lion comes up, or when the hyena, or when any kind of a threat comes up, they feel that. They feel that in their body, and they raise their head. There's a biochemical neural awareness of their environment that creates that emotion. And in turn, that emotion generates a feeling within our body, which is our reactions to the emotional stimuli that we just got. And so when we begin to understand these things in their right context, and to be able to navigate life effortlessly, without issue, without any real, with any trepidation. And so the thing that we want to start with, I think that's really grand for us, is, what are some of the basic emotions? Now, there's different highlights as to how many different basic emotions there are. There's some that say 6 and 8 and 12, and I've even seen 27. But I think these 8 emotions right here create a foundation of gauges for us in our lives to understand, how do we transform fear to faith. So we have anger and fear and pain and joy and passion and love and shame and guilt as the 8-fold expression of emotions. And as we see to the right of those, we see these different synonyms, if you will, synonym emotions of what they are. Anger kind of morphs into resentment and irritation and frustration, and fear moves into apprehension, or being overwhelmed or threatened or scared. And so as we move through life looking at these gauges, and today we're going to focus on fear, we must understand that at our basic level, we are energy, we are light. And we can either restrict the light or free the light. And so we get to this point to where, when are we going to read the scales correctly and then move forward in life? So, here we look at this idea of, from time immemorial, it has been almost instinctive for man, from confronting with fear, to turn to what he has considered a power greater than himself, or greater than herself. And what is that power? That power is the divine. That power is a faith that we have understood and practiced and learned throughout life as to what we're doing, as to who we are, and how to use these emotions, and specifically the emotion of fear, so that we are prepared for the journey of life. Now, I'll be driving next week to my son's graduation, and I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great time. But before I get on the road, I'm going to check my gauges. I'm going to see, is my gas tank filled? Do I need an oil change? Do I have the right air pressure in my tires? Is my air condition working? Because I want to know that as I move through this journey called life, I want to know, am I equipped? And equipped is not the real word, because we all have the gauges. I guess I should ask the question, am I aware that my gauges are working, number one, and then number two, am I going to pay attention to the gauges? Now, at the beginning of the month, we started out with this whole thing about emotion, and we used this image here of the emotional scale, of how we can go up and down these different motions. And just like in our car, when you fill the tank up, that gauge goes from full to empty. It begins to show us where we are on the path, and it begins to help us navigate life. And then we read that gauge, and then we transform that E to say, ooh, I need to make a stop at the next gas station. I need to get some more fuel. So we begin to use this metaphor of transforming fear to faith by driving our car and using the gauges. And as we focus on this idea, we understand that we are dealing with mental equivalence when we deal with these emotions. Every thought creates a world, and thoughts, feelings, and emotions are a tanglement of how we navigate life. And so we must begin at that moment to figure out what are the steps required to transform fear to faith, so that we can use these gauges effectively to navigate. And so first and foremost, I have 3 things here I want to leave you with to help you navigate and transfer fear to faith. Now, the first one is a revealing is a healing. The first thing we have to understand, what is it that's causing the fear? What are we resisting? What are we apprehensive about? What are we afraid of? Because once we understand that, once we see that, then we're able to take action. But we have to be aware. We have to know what it is that's causing the fear. It's not bad. It's not bad when the gas indicator says it's on E. It's an awareness that if you don't fill up your tank pretty soon, you're going to be stuck side the road. So that leads us to the thing that we must become expert sign readers. We got to become sign readers. We got to look at the symbols and the signs and begin to understand what they mean in relationship to us and where we're trying to go, or what we're trying to be, or better yet, to just anchor in the idea of who and what we are in the reflection of God. Who are we in the reflection of God? So we ask the question, when we look at this revealing as a healing, we ask the question, what are you feeling and why? What are you feeling and why? This is the first thing we need to do to transform fear to faith. We have to understand, we have to be aware and get behind the scene and read all the signs. The sign may be a record you hear on the radio and say, ooh, that puts me in a exciting mood or a depressing mood, right? Why? What thoughts, feelings, and emotion has created this complex that puts us in that spiral? And then how do we recognize and read that sign maybe more astutely or in a better way so that we can move forward? Now, once we've had this understanding that revealing is healing, and we begin to look at our emotions and our fears and begin to see what the cause is, The next thing is to realize that your faith will heal you. Your faith is what heals you. Jesus said, rise. He says, I didn't do any. He asked to the blind man. He said, look, rise up and go. I didn't do anything here. It is your faith that healed you. So Jesus is saying here that, hey, I just reminded you of the tools and the skills you have within your body. When you read the place and time and efforts and everything correctly, you can heal yourself. You just got to have faith. You got to have faith. And so our internal experiences are created by these emotions and thoughts and feelings. And when we can work with them together and we can move them in a way, then we can move at the speed of light. Let me put it that way. We can move at the speed of light. And so when we think about that, this quote from Carolyn Mice, she says, surrendering your problems in faith to the divine is not crazy. It's cosmic liberation. So set your soul free. Pray like you have nothing to lose except your fear. Pray like you have nothing to lose except your fear. Because see, it is here in this cauldron of spiritual practice and balancing our lives and understanding and reading the signs that we move forward by faith. Because it says, faith propels you not by sight, right? It's not by sight. It's by reading the signs, the internal signs, the God-given talents that every individual and creature on this planet has been blessed with, is to tap into the energy, tap into the light of the divine, and go where it may lead you. Go where it may lead you. And so once we've had this revealing and we understand that that is the healing from the fear, and that we move in this exciting realm of faith and believing and knowing, as we move the scale from fear to faith, we're just reading the signs better. We're looking at our gauges better. No one wants to throw out the gauge for the gas tank. No one wants to throw out the gauge for fear or any of the emotion, because it lets me know where I am and what I need to do to move forward with ease and grace. But then once we've done that and we've understood and we've gotten the sign reading down and we can navigate with the best of them, we have to, as our song on the closing says, we have to release and let go and let the Spirit run our life. We have to release and let go and let the Spirit run our life. Because that is what's needed to be successful. That's what's needed. Now, Dr. Beckwith says this: when you have faith the size of a mustard seed and abandon yourself and all the details of your life to it, your greater yet to be bursts forth. You will meet it everywhere. It will press itself against you and multiply around you. You will hear the Spirit whispering inwardly to you about why you are here and what you come here to do, revealing the agreements in your divine contract. That's what happens when you release and let go and you let the Spirit run your life. You tap into that divine creative contract, as Dr. Beckwith said, that navigates life easily. Doesn't mean there won't be problems. Doesn't mean there won't be some issues that we have to face. But what it does say, it is easy when we have the right. It's easier to know I'm about to run out of gas when I'm using my gauges. I don't have to be anxious about, am I going to run out of gas? I just look at my gauge. So I use my emotions the same way. And then I can release it, because I know at any moment when something is feeling off, I look at my gauge. I check my happiness meter or my fear meter or my celebration meter. Whatever it is, I tap into it. And so when we do this release and let go, the first thing is you got to stay aware. I can't fill the tank up. It's going to take a couple of tanks of gas to get from here to St. Louis. So I have to be aware. I have to, on occasion, look at the gauge. And then even now in the modern cars, they have, when you get close to 10 miles of running out of gas, a additional light comes on to say you got about 10 miles before you run out. So if you've been ignoring me all this time, you better pay attention now. So we have to be aware, stay aware. And then we need to feel the energy of the situation, which means we have to be in tune with the universe. We have to be in tune with the infinite. And how do we do that? We do that with prayer. We do that with exercise. We do that with diet. We do that with establishing relationships and communication. Because we're living a holistic life here. We're not living in one realm of life. We're living a holistic life. So we have to be in tune with the infinite, and that means everything must be working and cooperating and communicating and properly fueled at all times. And when we do that, the key becomes oh so obvious that we increase our vibration. When I fill the tank up, I can increase the longevity of my trip. When I make sure I'm healthy, I can increase the longevity of the trip, and it gives me better tools to stay aware and follow the gauges that we get with emotions. So that's the ticket. As we try to transform fear to faith, we must first reveal so we can heal. What are we afraid of? Do we understand what it is? And once we've revealed it, we can heal it with faith, the opposite end of it. We can heal it by tapping into that energy, that light, that divine source that is always there seeking to enlighten us and to guide us wherever we go. And once we've got used to that dance with spirit, then we can release and let go and allow spirit to run our life, to keep us aware, to increase our vibration when we need it, and to tune it down when we need a rest, to give the gauges a rest. And so when we think about this week and we move forward with what we want to do and how we want to survive, as always, we have our call to action. And our call to action this week is this. Am I reacting out of fear or faith? Let's be clear about how we act through the week. Are we acting out of fear or are we acting out of faith? And once we've done that, then we want to explore what faith is for you and for me and how you and I engage and follow it. Do I ignore the signs? Do I just, not act as if there are no gauges there? That's what we have to do. And when we do that, I like this closing slide here by Charles Fillmore that says this: there is no lack of anything anywhere in reality. The only lack is the fear of lack in the mind of man. We do not need to overcome any lack, but what we must overcome, the fear of lack. So we must overcome this idea that we're in an environment, that we're in a world that is not plentiful. We are plentiful. God has given us all we need, and the only thing we need to do now is be aware, read the gauges, and move through life. Because emotions are gauges to help us navigate life and to stay in tune. And awareness is the master key. So as we move through life, we take on this idea of vulnerability, which enhances our awareness and we look at it as a very important tool. And once we learn the language of emotions, they will help us know when our faith is low or our fear is high. Let us pray. And so I just take inventory of my whole being right now. And I invite each and every one of us to do the same. To notice the feelings that we are feeling right here, right now. And to begin to traverse that feeling and understand the emotions that are present. What is it right now that is activating this feeling that I have at this very moment? Because I know that for me and for you and for everyone on this planet, the source of all light, the source of all feeling, the source of all emotions is the divine. It's God itself. And I know that we are connected in a myriad of different ways that allow us to read into the success of our life, the success of humanity, and release the fear about all of the different things that we find going on in our lives right now. These ideas of lack and shortage and war and inflation and all these things that can create an emotional reaction that moves us to fear. But what we depend on and know is that if we read the signs and feel the vibrations of God, that we can move forward with faith and not with fear. And because I know that to be true now and forevermore, I declare right here, right now, for all of us on this call and for all of us who may join us later, that we are fortified with the Spirit of the divine, that we are ready, willing, and able to take on any emotional gauge, if you will, to look at it with the proper perspective and to move it along the spectrum from empty to full, to be full of faith, to be full of courage, to be full of laughter and joy and communication and all these things that help us navigate life a little bit easier. And so I give thanks right here, right now for all of the emotional gauges that I have in myself. Everything to let me know that when I'm on course or I'm slightly moving off course. To allow me to feel that. I don't want to put Novocaine in my hand so I don't feel the fire. I want to understand what fire is and use it in its proper perspective. And so it is in that thanksgiving, it is that understanding that I release this prayer into a law that is accurate, that is infallible, that is activated right now with these words and these feelings and these emotions that we release into the universe. And as Reverend Dr. Michael said, that at this very moment, the universe is conspiring to make this prayer an activation in our lives. And so we just release it, let go, and know that it is so. And so it is. Amen, amen, and amen. And so I just want to thank everyone today for being here. It is always a pleasure to engage in the sacred art of prayer and the sacred contemplation of how God interacts in our lives. And so right here, we just want to thank you and be grateful, let you know that we're grateful for all of the gifts and talents and everything you share with CSL Denver. We're so grateful, and we are so enamored, if you will, with your time, talents, and treasures. And whether it's your first time here or you're a returning community participant, we want to thank you for continuing the financial support to our center. And right now, you'll see scrolling across the bottom of the screen the many different ways that you can support the center, either through credit card or through text, or even if you send something to the P.O. Box at P.O. Box 300416, Denver, Colorado 80203. We appreciate it. And as we always want to emphasize, and I forget it often, is that you can easily use your King Soopers account or your Amazon Smile account to also benefit the center. And so with that being said, we want to thank you, and as we take our tithe or put our hand on our heart in our customary way, and you repeat our affirmation, this perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings right back to you, Reverend Z. Thank you so much. So we only have one announcement this morning. Our usual virtual fellowship is on Zoom again this morning. We would love for you to come and join us and let us know how you're doing. If you did not receive the Zoom invitation earlier this morning, please send an email to us at info@cslddenver.org. info@cslddenver.org, and mention fellowship, and we'll send you a Zoom invitation right away. Meanwhile, we hope you have a wonderful week, and affirm right here and right now that 2022 is blessed and perfect in all that it is. We love you and miss you. Please take care of yourselves, and let's close out with I release and I let go. Have a great week.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You gotta let it all go. And this is what you have to say.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.